we're going to take a look at a traditional reverse crunch. And we're not going to use any resistance from the machine on this, but there is a little thing we'll talk about that you can do to make it harder or easier based upon the direction you lie on this bench. But take a look. The first thing is Josh is going to grab up behind his head to help stabilize this, because sometimes the legs are pretty heavy and it could be hard to bring them up if this part wants to move also. So to grab it by the head, go ahead to start out with the easiest version is collapse your legs as much as possible. So your calves are right against your hamstrings, your legs are in tight, and we're not going to move, straighten the knees, bend the knees, we're not going to bend the hips at all. This whole thing is about moving the pelvis. So watch what he does in his head. He's going to go slow, you're going to see it happen. He's going to tighten his abs, and just like little ropes attached to his pelvis, he's going to curl his pelvis towards his ribs. So he's not even thinking so much about up, although there will be some up to it. He's thinking about curling inward. There you go. Not necessarily a huge motion, but do it all with the abs, and you will really, really feel it. Now, this is not spot reducing. This is muscle building stuff. There's no such thing as spot reduction. You've got to eat right and all that stuff for that. But the tightening and the crunching. Now, if that's getting easy, what he could do is just move these out a little bit, and it won't take much. And then if he can maintain that new position, that, in essence, put the weight further away, which makes it a little heavier. See, feel that, Josh? So that makes it a little bit harder, so you can progress up that way. Now, the other thing you could do, notice that to this whole bench, there's a little bit of an angle. And when the part you're lifting and lowering is on the low side of the angle, that makes it a little harder. So if you really had trouble with this in the beginning, and this is a tough crunch, you could not only keep the legs in tight, but you could also lay the other way on the bench, and it might feel a little easier, where your hips would be on the high end of the bench and your head would be down here. That might be the way to start. Another thing to note, this is not just lower abs versus abdominal abs. You can see his upper abdominals, the upper rectus abdominis, working just as hard as the lower. So you cannot separate those two things in terms of the forces that you put between the muscles.